Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello and welcome to Self-Improvement Atlas, the personal science insight podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with the expert knowledge of professionals in the field. I'm your host, Aditi Kuti. Let's get on with the show. Welcome back to Self-Improvement Atlas, the Personal Science Insights podcast. I'm joined today by Lu Ngo, who is one of the hosts here at LMSL. Lu, so excited to have you on the show. I know that you've been with me on like a vlog style show before, but you haven't actually been in the studio with me to record a podcast episode. No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
I didn't know that. I swear to you, I thought we already done an episode.
I think I have done an episode on your show.
Right.
Yes. Oh. Which you should check out.
Yes, please check it out. What is it?
I don't remember.
What did we talk about?
We were talking about parents. I think we were talking about parents.
Yeah. Well,
we record.
If we haven't done one or two from my shows, then we definitely need to do that soon.
We should definitely do that soon, for sure.
That'll be fun.
Do you want to introduce yourself very briefly to our audience?
Yeah, sure. I am Lu. I am here as one of the hosts. I'm also honored to be leading the team here at LMSL. So that's the fun part of my job, besides hosting podcasts. I'm a cat mom. I'm a cat mom of 3. I am a lifelong learner, love learning, which is why I'm here at LMSL. And I don't know what else to say, but, you know, just a lover of life, like loving life.
I think loving life and laughing through life and living.
Oh, yeah. Laugh through it all, guys. Just do it.
is definitely what we strive for in life. But speaking of being a cat mum, today's episode is about pet care. We're going to be talking a lot about that. But we have a game that I normally play with my guests called Have You Met Lu Ngo?
Okay.
Obviously, the name changes. I don't ask them about you every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Although I wish I could.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a shortened version of that. I'm going to ask you a couple of really quick questions about yourself. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Go? Cool. What is your favorite book or the last book that you've read recently that you really liked?
I am actually reading a book called The Power of Fun by Catherine Price. It's amazing. It talks a lot about true fun, which is a concept that we as adults don't think about very often. You know, children have true fun all the time, but as adults, we start to get stuck into our daily lives and we forget about it. The reason why I started to read this book was because I got really burnt out. I came to the realization that I have not had fun in a very long time. I feel disconnected from myself and I don't really know what I enjoy anymore. So yes, I love life, but what exactly do I love? What exactly do I want to do more of? The book really helped because one of the things that the author talked about at the very beginning was, you know, she felt a sense of disconnect just like me and she started to play the guitar. So she learned to play the guitar and I haven't played my guitar in so long. Hence why it's like a reminder, you know, whenever I have a second, I don't have to just, you know, feel guilty for not reading if I'm playing my guitar, you know, like I can just pick up the guitar and play. It'll be really fun. It creates, you know, the state of flow, which we all know, and, you know, a bunch of other benefits. I'm only at the beginning of the book, but so far I'm loving it. And it also talks about, you know, not being on social media too much. Like, obviously, it's not a bad place to be in if you know how to use it. But yeah, you got to strike the balance and all that sort of thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's a really interesting concept that I've also been thinking about lately because I've also been burnt out. And like, I think mine is a little different from yours. Maybe you'll come across it in the book. Let me know if you do, or people who have like read the book, leave a comment if it comes up. But something my therapist asked me the other day was, do you have any hobbies that don't involve putting effort into them? which like caught me so off guard because a lot of my hobbies are like creative writing, art, playing the piano, stuff that I actually do have to put time and effort into, and that I've spent so much of my life, even though I find it enjoyable, striving for perfection towards. And like ever since that time, I've just been trying to take all of these things less seriously and also like using my free time to just watch a TV show, a bad TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like try to do things that are really inconsequential and unproductive.
Yeah.
And it's made me enjoy a lot of these things more.
Right.
It's made me really kind of the less I think I was putting pressure on myself that I didn't realize I was.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you were talking about that, I started thinking about the question myself. I'm like, if someone asked me that, I don't know what to say. But then I realized one of the things that I've been doing recently is every time I get home from the gym, this is really like literally no effort. I put on YouTube the music that I enjoy and, watch the music video and sing along.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's like no effort. And I enjoyed myself. And for a very long time in the past, I used to feel guilty for doing these things because I'm like, oh, like I should be productively doing something, creating something. But no, that is productive rest to me. And I don't have to put in any effort. I have music I enjoy. YouTube's right there. One click, play, and just sing along.
Exactly. And it's like you're not doing anything important. It's not going to result in any kind of like product or whatever or skill development. But
hey, maybe I'll be a singer. You never know.
Australian Idol next year.
No thanks. But yeah, like maybe busker. Find me on Burke Street.
Our Melbourne viewers will appreciate that one for sure. But like, no, I'm with you on that. But I'd love to hear more about the book. I'm going to move on to the next question before we start talking about this for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, let's.
What about a movie? And I think I already know the answer to this.
No, actually, it changes all the time, mind you. Like it changes all the time. And to me, like I have so many movies that I started watching recently and so many movies that I just forget about, and I have been watching more movies lately as well as one of the, new hobbies. The one that I would probably talk about today would probably be, oh gosh, what's the name of the movie? It has Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl in it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like the spy movie. Is it called Spies or something?
I don't think it's called Spies, but I know the movie you're talking about.
Yeah, I rewatched it the other day and it was just so fun to watch. It was like hilarious. And, the first part of the movie was set in Europe, in Italy, I think, or France. Yeah, the first part was in France. The second part was in America, obviously. It's hilarious. The plot twist, like the action, the six packs. No, but it's just fun to watch. For the first time, like I'm not ashamed to share just a fun movie to watch. Yeah. Can you please help me Google what that movie is called?
I just did. It's called Killers.
Killers. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Sorry. Not Spies, everyone. Sorry. It's called Killers. I have watched it twice and I love it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. I thought you were going to say Across the Spider-Verse, but...
Well,
don't tell me anything about that movie. I've not seen it yet.
Yes, I'm not going to talk about it because, I need for you to see it first.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. We'll make a time. What about a podcast that you've been into lately?
The Huberman Lab. So many people have told me about it. Even our CEO. He's like, you should listen to it. I was like, okay. And then, a lot of the guests on my shows suggest that podcast as well. And I started to see a lot of YouTube shorts on my feed. Because I started to Google a bunch of things like sleep productivity or like emotions and things like that. And then, his shorts would pop up. If you want another one, I have another favorite, which is Deep Dive with Ali Abdaal. That's another good one because he has amazing guests on the show. And the conversations are really nice too. So, yeah.
Yeah, Huberman Labs is like a very commonly recommended one on personal science. A lot of people recommend that. But Ali Abdaal, I've not listened to his podcast, but I've seen a few of his YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of those. So
He's crazy productive and like he's
I
really
think sometimes he's
structured.
like, I really have to approach his videos critically and
Yeah.
assess like what I'm actually capable of, because
Yeah.
a lot of it is too much for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, exactly. Like he's like crazy organized
but-
and things. And I'm like, whoa. But the deep dive with Ali Abdal podcast is fun because there's a wide range of guests. I think he had Dr. Julie Smith on. So that was like really fun because I love Dr. Julie Smith. She's the author of Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? Love that. And she talked a lot about like psychology and things related to, our emotions and other aspects of even like life purpose. So yeah, it's a great episode. If you don't want to watch the whole show with Ali Abdal, at least watch that episode. It's really fun.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Lots of recs you've given me today.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'm going to be checking those out. But we've gotten to know you now.
Yay.
And if you want to get to know Lu better, listen to her shows, her podcasts. But I'm going to move on to our topic of the day, which is about pet care.
Yes, let's talk about it.
We've both been looking forward to this episode so much.
Yeah.
I want to start I mean, obviously, you're not an expert,
No.
unlike most of my other guests on the show. But I just want to ask, what is pet care to you? Well, how do you personally define it?
Well, I'm no expert, but having been a cat mom for 2.5 years now, I would say pet care is a process of planning for the needs of your pets, just like a human. So how you would take care of your health, you need to look at your pet's health the exact same way. Like planning what they're going to eat, when to eat, personal hygiene. So, grooming, frequent baths. I know people are like, why are you bathing your cats? But yes, you need to do that at least once a month. In the summer, probably even more frequently. Brushing is important. Are you going to get insurance for them? Are you going to take them to the vet often? Are you going to give them, annual vaccines? All that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a process of like planning for their needs as much as human needs. So yeah, that's how I would define it.
Yeah, for sure. How many pets have you had, just to like put this into context?
Well, I have had 4 so far. So I used to have 4 cats and one passed away last year. So yeah, that was pretty rough and definitely a lesson learned, for the health checkups that should have been more frequent. I mean, like the first checkup was fine, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe she's just old. Actually, she was really old. So like when that happened, it was like out of nowhere, and the vet just said, really like there's no way to find out what exactly happened. Sometimes there's this procedure and process where you can go through and they can try to identify the cause of, death, but sometimes you don't find anything because it's extremely hard to find out, especially with pets. But yeah, my vet said that she was really old already, so that's probably why. Yeah, which was definitely very sad. But yeah, I think it was a lesson for me to treasure my pets more. So yeah.
Sure, for sure. How has, I mean, and you partially answered this question a little bit, but how does having a pet make you a more responsible person? Because I know for me, I'm a dog owner. And I do live with my family, so he is owned by 4 people technically, but he's officially my dog. And the amount of lifestyle changes I have had to make before having a dog, he's my first pet, and after, especially getting a pet as an adult, it's pretty big. I feel like when you have a pet as a child, which I've never experienced that. Well, I had a goldfish, but it doesn't count. Like that's not a real animal. I feel like when you're a child, a lot of it is your parents looking after it anyway. But as an adult, there's a lot more responsibility that falls on you. So like, how has having a pet changed you?
Well, yeah, this is a great question because, when I first had cats, I became a completely different person. First of all, I was obsessed with them. I love them so much. Obsessed with my babies. And I started to notice that I was more responsible, not just because of them, but, also like I felt like I was a more responsible adult. for, regulating my schedule, going to sleep at a certain time because, they go to sleep with you, right? So you kind of like, you want to honor that time, wake up early, make sure you feed them and feed yourself and clean more often. Crazy. I was like, never thought that I would be this diligent with cleaning and vacuuming because, if you don't have pets, you probably vacuum like once, twice a week. Mm-hmm. I vacuum every day because, there's fur everywhere, right? Yeah. But because I can see the fur. But, in reality, vacuuming every day is actually not a bad idea because, there's dust everywhere. I was like, wow, like I'm like more responsible, and like, I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it, but I felt like an accomplished adult in a way.
I totally get that. I remember when my dog first like arrived, I expected to take on more responsibility than I ended up taking on because my family were like, actually, we love this dog and we want to take care of him too. But I remember back then I was doing, I was working full time at the time. I was doing some I had a normal schedule and I would wake up like at 6 a.m. because I had to go to work anyway. Look after him, feed him, make sure he'd walked before I left the house. And then I'd come home on time to walk him as well. And very soon, because that full-time work finished very soon after I got him, and I started doing shift work. And I was a uni student as well. I went back to uni. I wasn't able to do that anymore because like my schedule just went crazy. Like I had no idea what I knew what I was going to be doing that day, but like it wasn't very consistent. I wasn't home by the time that he needed me to be home.
Yeah.
And often because when you work and study at the same time, you're staying up quite late at night. You can't fall asleep the way you were talking about. You can't necessarily wake up on time because of that. So it's, yeah, I feel like it's an interesting one how having something as simple as having a full-time job can like really help you maintain a consistent schedule for your pet.
Definitely.
Somehow Simba has still managed. He's alive and he's happy and he has a routine that we respect and
we love
stick
Simba.
To.
Cute baby.
But yeah, how like what are the kind of challenges that you came across when you first got your pets? Because I'm assuming like your cats, these are your first set of pets.
Oh yeah,
like you didn't have any children.
Yeah, first time. Actually, I remember the first year was pretty rough because cats are very different from dogs, and they are. I'm trying to find a nice word. They're little demons sometimes, and they can really challenge you. Like if you have a kitten and you've been raising the kitten his or her whole life, it's a different story. But when you adopt adult cats like I did, super tough. I was like, what's going on? Why are they constantly hiding? Why are they not interacting with me as much? Why are they not playing? Turns out it's just because of who they are. They need time to adjust. And also because they were left behind by their previous owner, there's that certain sense of, like they felt abandoned. And so they needed time. Even if you love them so much and you show the love, might not be enough because they might go, this is annoying. It's just cat's nature. They want to be left alone, right? And I was like constantly in their face. So they were annoyed at me. So that's what I had to deal with when I had the first two cats. Leia and Hermione, and so Leia's gone, rest in peace, my baby. But when I got the next cat, Taro, he was crazy, and he was like the opposite. While the other girls were way too mellow, he was way too crazy, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna maintain this. Like it's just crazy. He's like roaming around, running around, and just like basically knocking everything over. I mean, he's pretty graceful. Like he doesn't knock everything over, but he likes to be on the coffee table and he would just, like make space for himself and everything on the table would just slowly.
Do you get the feeling he's doing it on purpose?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. He likes to challenge his mama. And then I got a kitten, and the kitten is a whole different experience because, raising a kitten is so different. And you have to make sure that they, fit into the environment. You need to make sure, especially because it's a multi-cat household, you need to make sure that the cats get along.
Yeah.
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 So that was a challenge too, because Hermione and Taro hated each other's guts.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they still do.
Oh, God.
But, thanks to Potato, things have gotten a little bit better because, it's like Taro has Potato to annoy and, Hermione can do her own thing and just do whatever she wants.
It's like a very like sibling dynamic.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
100%.
The youngest sibling is just so annoying.
Yeah.
And then another one comes along and then that one can just direct its attention towards the new baby.
I know. But that was why I got the kitten because, Taro was so crazy that I didn't know what to do. And not just like crazy in the house, but crazy with the other cats because he likes to pick fights. Okay. He likes to be played with. But because Mama's busy sometimes and, I don't always play with him, he would go and pick fights with Hermione and Leia. Like Leia doesn't really mind because, she didn't mind because she was older and she's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But Hermione constantly hissed at him the first year. I think she still does now, every now and again. But like they're kind of like, the siblings that have gotten to know each other.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, yeah, I'll be in my spot. You be in your spot.
Yeah. It's like,
stay
we're family.
out of my way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really tough, which is why I was like, okay, if he has a friend, a sibling to annoy, then he wouldn't annoy her. And because kitten, it's fine for them because they whichever cats they grow up with, they would be used to the cats or the people, right? So yeah, like Taro and Potato, they get along really well, even though they're super different. Like Taro's crazy. Potato's super chill.
Yeah.
He's mellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just helps. So yeah, lots of challenges, especially when you don't have just one pet, but multiple pets in your home. Maintaining the space, making sure that it's clean is another thing because it's a rental apartment. It's not my apartment. So yeah, lots of accidents have happened. I just need to make sure it's clean all the time. Needs to make sure that, I don't leave sharp knives around and, they're always in their spots because the cats like to jump around. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they're smart, but you don't want to be careless. You want to be vigilant and just be, like really just, on top of everything. So I had a lot of anxiety the first year. The second year got a little bit better. And now that I'm in my third year with the cats, it's chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. One of my biggest things that I had to change was I couldn't have things on the floor anymore. Like I can't keep things on because Simba doesn't do it as much anymore. He's learned like what he should and shouldn't take. Whether he listens to what's good and what's he knows right from wrong. Whether he chooses right is a totally different story. But he knows the difference. But especially at the beginning, like anything that was kind of on the floor, no matter how big it was his chew toy. Mm-hmm. So we had to there was a lot of like boxes and stuff that I would keep on the floor that I then had to find other places for. Even just like electrical appliances. I had a heater, like a small heater that I kept on the floor because I didn't really have any surface area for it. It's not safe. I don't recommend it. Putting a heater on the floor, by the way, just don't do that. A small little portable one. But that was kind of my only option. I had to move that because I was like, you are going to chew on the wire or something like that. I have to hide all my wires.
Wires. That's another big thing.
That's another big thing. And like, even though he's better now, literally the other day, my brother had brought McDonald's drive-thru home.
Okay.
And there was Big Mac sauce and tzatziki, like little packets, just on the table, well out of reach of my dog. I woke up one morning to find both cylinders were empty.
Oh.
Licked clean.
Oh, no.
On the ground.
Oh, no.
So he's still, yeah. It's having to like navigate just the knowledge of like knowing that nothing is permanent thanks to my dog. Like the things that I keep in one place may not necessarily stay there, and he has no rhyme or reason for why. I mean, the sauces make sense. He wanted to eat it, but sometimes it'll just be like my underwear, my clean underwear.
Yeah.
that again, I've kept out of his reach, but somehow he manages to find. Sometimes it'll be like recycling. Like it won't be anything that smells like food. He'll just take it because it's like, well, it's mine now. That's still something that I think that's a lifelong thing with
it
pets.
causes a lot of anxiety, but you just have to kind of get used to it and manage it because you cannot be too careful when it comes to pets.
Yeah. How do you manage going out with your pets at home? I know this is very different with cats than it is with dogs.
Yeah.
But for me, like our family does not go out for dinner anymore because Simba gets too lonely. He's a poodle, half poodle. So poodles are naturally really clingy well.
What about dog-friendly restaurants?
He is not friend. He's not a restaurant-friendly dog.
Right. Gotcha.
Otherwise, we would take him.
Yeah.
He's not able to control himself. He's gotten better at controlling himself around people, but like with food around, there's just too many variables. We can't risk having him out.
Yeah.
About,
right.
So he's not a well-trained dog. I'll take that L. That's true. But he's also a very difficult dog to train.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I could understand. Well, to me going out, it was actually interesting because the first year was, the second lockdown year of the pandemic anyway. So I didn't leave the house very often, which was actually something that made it worse for me at the end of the year because I was so obsessed with them and I was so worried all the time that I didn't go anywhere. If I go out, even just to get groceries, I'll be like rushing to get back home straight away. And then because I constantly checked up on them, they were annoyed because cats like to be left alone and I was constantly in their faces. So that wasn't good. But I think with time, like anything in life, with time, it slowly got better. I got used to it and I could leave them for extended periods of time. Last year I went home for 3 months and I left them with my friends and they didn't stay with the cats. They just came over to feed them and Taro got severe separation anxiety. So I came home to an apartment full of poop and pee. So, lesson learned, do not leave your cats alone for 3 months. Like, yes, you can leave someone to take care of them, but they need to stay there to apartment sit. Otherwise it wouldn't work. So lesson learned.
Yeah, I think especially with dogs, you can like take them to a sitter and allow them to stay at someone else's house, but cats are so attached to the home.
Exactly, which is why I didn't want to bring them elsewhere because my friend said, why don't you bring the cats over to mine? She has cats too, but like getting used to a new environment, to new cats, and then bring them back again, I was just, I was kind of hesitant to do that. I should have done that, but
I get it.
You learn by doing it.
No,
now I know
true.
better.
You know better now.
Yeah.
If I wasn't allergic to cats, I would so pet sit for them.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure everyone was on holiday during that period, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably wasn't, but I haven't traveled since 2019. That's okay. I'm still.
You are traveling soon, so. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Wait, didn't you say you were going to go to India?
No, my parents are in India now.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going.
No.
Right.
I don't have any plans at the moment.
So Simba has you then?
Simba has me for now. It's going to be interesting because, again, we used to take him to a pet sitter who used to keep dogs in her home while they were on holiday. And he was more or less fine. He would be pretty sad during the entire time. And then he would be kind of pissed at us and not talk to us for a few days after we got back. But he was okay. He was still eating and stuff. But that was before the pandemic. And he's definitely gotten way more attached because we are literally always home. Even now, he has someone home the majority of the time. He's rarely ever alone because my dad works from home. I work from home. So it's going to be interesting, if all of us go on holiday together to see how he handles it. And I don't know. I genuinely don't know if that's going to happen again. If my family can go on a holiday now because of his. I mean, there has to be a way to wean him off of it, but it's going to be really difficult when all of us are home all of the time, and he's now 5, going to be 6 this year.
Yeah,
he's kind of too old to train, so it's going to be an interesting one. But I don't know. It's so anxiety inducing being on holiday and having a pet because it's are they okay? Like, are they, you trust the people, but it's like, have I given them enough food to feed the pet? Like, are they sick? What's going to happen if they fall sick? Like, stuff like that. And even though the sitter that we used to send him to used to send us pictures every day, yeah, it was still really scary. I'm sure you also felt that way when you were away.
Yeah, totally. Oh gosh, it was hard. I installed this little camera that I could, see them and interact with them through, and it was okay for the first month. But yeah, the second month, I was just itching to get back to them, and yeah, well, with hindsight, everything should have been done differently. But you learn through these experiences. I think it's just, yeah, it's very important to not be rigid with what you can do, because I was like so set on like no, I'm not gonna let them leave my apartment, because I had a really good friend that agreed to take care of them while I was away, and we just feed them every day, so that was really great. But still, like you should always consider different aspects, like is it good for them, is it good for you, how long are you going to be away for, like sure you have help, but if they don't have human contact all the time, especially with cats, that's not going to work. So even if you think that this is the best thing for them, you should consult somebody else, maybe your vet. I didn't, because I just made some assumption. It was like pretty last minute when I flew out as well, so didn't have a lot of time to make arrangements. But yeah, now I know better.
Last minute trips, I feel like, are one of those things that just die when you have pets, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to prepare them as well for the fact that you're going to be like away.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had to move my flight earlier because of some drama. So
jeez.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't have enough time to think it through. But if I had, I probably would have done it differently. So yeah, always consult your vet if you're not sure.
Absolutely, for sure. What do you do to kind of balance being a pet owner with like your other commitments? Because sometimes I feel like looking after a dog is a full-time job.
Definitely. Look, I'm not the best at it. And I think with other commitments like work, social life and everything else, I try to make sure there's a routine in place. And, this can be easily maintained, because if you're feeding them every day, you're washing their bowls every day, you're petting them every day, especially in the morning or before bedtime, that is something that can easily be built into your routine. With cats, with dogs, it might be very different, because they require more attention, and they need to have more activities and things like that. So I think for cats, it's easier. I would say relatively easier. And for me, it's just easy to do these things like first thing in the morning, or, last thing before bed. Because sometimes I'm not home, I have to be at the office all day, or, if I'm bouncing here and there, and if I'm like really like sucked into my work, even though I'm at home, it's hard to make sure that I do these things. So yeah, I just make sure that there's a routine in the morning, there's a routine in the evening. And, one of the other things that I would say is, balancing commitments is one thing, but balancing your mental health is another thing, because a lot of pet owners would probably resonate with the fact that sometimes when you're not feeling your best, you're not taking care of your pets very well. And that's the biggest thing that I've noticed for me. And I'm like, wait, I haven't petted them today. I only pet them when they come to me, not actively petting them like usual. Why? Because I'm feeling low.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard thing to manage. So I think with pets, like no matter how busy you are, no matter how tough life can be, it's important to prioritize this aspect, especially because, the podcast that I host, Happiness and Wellbeing, we talk about pets, every now and again, like the connection we have with animals, and the activities that you do with your pets, playing with them, petting them, taking care of them, actually boost your well-being too. So if you're feeling low and you're like, oh, I just don't want to move, like sometimes I had periods where I was just like lying in bed doing nothing, or like just staring at the sky. And I didn't do anything for my pets for the cats, and I felt really guilty. But now that I know, but when you know better, you do better, right? So now that I know, I'm actively doing these things and rebuilding the connection with them sometimes, because, in life, there would be periods where you feel disconnected from everything. So it's like it takes a lot of effort to even do that, because all the other commitments, you probably also are making the bare minimum effort. And with the pets, it shouldn't be like that. So you definitely need to nurture that relationship and make sure that you're balancing all aspects of your life. So it's less about a commitment thing, but it's more about a routine building activity, and to be really grateful, because I think we should all be really grateful for our pets, no matter how naughty they are. Definitely, be really grateful, and make the effort to take care of them, and know that whatever happens in your life, they are there. They can actually sense your energy. They can absorb your energy too. So, when you interact with them and you're nurturing the relationship, you both feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel that in that, like I said, at the moment, my parents are overseas. So it's just me and my brother and my dog looking after him. And my parents were usually the ones who were up in the morning with my dog, and feeding him, and sitting with him and spending that quality time with him. And now it's really weird, because I am famously, and people who listen to this podcast will know I've said this, I'm not a morning person at all. 9 a.m. is usually the earliest I'm out of bed. What I've been doing is I have been waking up to make sure he gets the food, which is the bare minimum, but then he sleeps on my bed with me the rest of the evening. So there's still that physical contact, and there's still, it's not exactly quality time, but I'm spending time with him, and it's quite intentional, because I'm like, come back, spend time with me, and he's happy to do so. He's always like very happy to do so.
Sweet.
My room is warm in the winter, so he likes being there.
Yeah.
That helps, but it's definitely like been a learning experience. I didn't realize how important his bedtime was for him. Like, I can't just like stay out and like watch a movie. I have to be in bed watching a movie if I am, because like he needs to sleep. He's used to at night heading to where my parents are when they've settled down for bed, and sleeping there. Now I have to be that person, and I'm usually not. I'm usually like up and about at that time of the night.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting one. Like, I can tell that he's asking me to like go to sleep. He's asking me to like settle down so that he can go to sleep. Yeah, it's been a really interesting one. Because he's not like, he can sleep through like noises in the house. He's not that kind of dog, but he is the kind of dog that needs someone to around for him to like go to bed. It's a learning experience. I feel like I'm learning. He's been in my life for so long. I learn something new every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were talking about how like pets and interaction with animals is like correlates to happiness and well-being. And it's so interesting how like when we are going through those low mental health periods, which I've definitely been through as well, like pet care is one of the things that slips off your mind, but like spending time with your pet is the thing that can make you feel better.
Exactly.
It's such a strange spiral.
It's a reminder, this is a reminder when you don't feel like doing something. Just think about how important it is for your well-being and for your pet's well-being. Like, oh, am I going to brush my cats today? Can be bothered because I'm so tired. Actually, no, you can be bothered.
Yeah.
Put something on, watch a movie, and brush them at the same time. Would that make it more enjoyable? They would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. It was fun.
My dog hates being brushed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's just like any bathing, grooming, he just hates it. He makes it the most difficult process imaginable for us.
Okay, I could imagine.
Has to be done, but he doesn't make it easy.
I could imagine. He sounds like a diva.
Diva is a great way to put it. Okay. It's a fantastic way to put it. He's at the risk of ranting about this a little too much. I call him a bastard dog. That's what I call him.
Wow. Amazing.
Lovingly, affectionately.
Okay.
But he doesn't bark or anything, but he'll like talk to us and he'll whine if he's trying to communicate to you. And he'll whine in the most annoying way possible.
Yeah.
In order to communicate what he wants, which is often something unreasonable. Like, can I have a treat in the middle of the day? He's not allowed to. That's unfortunately a result of having a breed that's way too intelligent, but also has a mind of their own.
Yeah.
That's just a part of it. He does act like a cat. He reminds me of a cat a lot sometimes.
Aw, cute.
He's one of the things, and I guess my next question is about this as well, which is how does responsibility, like being responsible for a pet, how has that changed you as a person? How has it developed you? Because I know for me, all of the stuff we talked about routines definitely applies. But the biggest thing I can think of is that like I was mentally and physically not doing well until I got Simba. Now I have to walk him at least once a day, which forced me to get out of the house, which is not something I was doing before I had him.
Yeah.
And that has changed my life so humongously, just leaving the house. I live in the suburbs. It is not easy to find a reason to leave the house when you're in the suburbs. So yeah, I think that's kind of the one big thing for me. But what is it for you? How has having 4 cats, now 3, changed you?
Actually, a lot, you know. I talked to my mom, I think last year in one of the call, and we were just talking about cats and, you know, the fact that I have so many cats. And, you know, she was just saying something so funny. She was like, oh, look at you holding that cat, taking care of that cat. You can take care of a baby now. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm sorry. But that was a that was funny. But that was a good point, because I realized how much of an adult I became after, you know, getting cats, because I took care of them on my own, everything. And I was like, wow, I'm very responsible. Because it's a full-time job, you know, it's commitment. You don't just get them and leave them, or, you know, get them and leave them be. You gotta be all in, taking care of them, you know. And, you know, obviously there's a little bit of obsession from my part, but, you know, it's good obsession.
How can you not be obsessed?
Yeah, exactly. You got to be obsessed with your pets.
Yeah.
But I realized after that, you know, I have become really responsible. I've become like so adult, and like I've been thinking about things while considering somebody else's well-being and not just my own. And by somebody, I mean three cats, 3 bodies. And I think, you know, being able to maintain that routine and committing to taking care of cats and not leaving them no matter what happens, you know, no matter where I have to move, it's a pretty big deal. Like it shows a lot of growth. Like, you know, you got to be really resilient through the process. You got to be responsible. You got to make sure you're doing your life project management, quote unquote, properly. And I think it's grown me in the sense that I'm not just thinking about me all the time, while I'm learning about, you know, the love for animal. And to me, growth as a person is like learning about a lot of different things, right? So even being just like conscious of what the cats would be allergic to, or, you know, like what it would mean for animals in general, or, you know, anything that I do, would that affect the cats? Would that affect other animals? It shows growth to me personally, because I'm not the kind of person that got a lot of exposure to animals growing up. So yeah, like it's different for different people, right? But for me, it's like, it's those aspects.
Yeah. I think like 2 of us, we would not know what it's like to have a pet, I guess, as a child, because Simba is the first pet for anyone in my family. Like it's the first pet for my parents as well. So it's just been kind of a learning experience for all of us. I think it's been easier on my parents because for them it's like having a third baby in the house.
Aww,
like they have kind of just like, he's just their child now.
Yeah.
But he's also my child. It's a weird family dynamic.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
But thank you for sharing all of that. Again, I love your cats so much. I have met them. They're wonderful, wonderful cats.
I know. Thank you.
And I wish there was a time when I wasn't allergic to cats, and I wish I had met them then. Unfortunately,
well,
very
but
allergic now. But that won't stop me.
Yeah,
that won't stop me from.
There's so many ways we can still make it happen. I haven't met Simba.
I have no idea how to get you guys to meet him because he hates car rides. So I can't drive him anywhere either. So people have to come.
So he's a house dog.
He's a house dog.
Right.
People have to come to my house, which is like way too far. We'll see. We'll make a day. We'll plan something.
We'll work it out.
Because he would love to meet you guys too.
Yeah.
He loves people.
Yeah.
So he would absolutely love that.
Cool.
But I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
We'll make plans after we're done recording.
Okay, done.
I'm gonna move on to our practice/habit experiment debrief.
Yeah.
Where I ask you a couple of questions about how we can put what we've talked about into practice. Again, reiterating, you're not an expert, but as having experience as a pet owner, there's a lot we can learn, I think, from our personal experiences. So I wanted to ask you, Lu, what's a practice that you do to deal with how do you manage pet care? What's a practice you take on to manage pet care?
I think a practice that I would share with everyone, and perhaps is something that everyone can try, is to cuddle or pet your cats or dogs or other pets before bedtime. So, some might sleep with you, some might not, but I find that petting them before I go to bed and just like saying goodnight, it's a really nice way to have that, like the feeling of connection with your pets. And in some ways it makes you feel better, but in other ways it allows, I think, I cannot read their minds, but I think it allows them to feel at home and feel loved as well. Cannot really speak for them, but for me, like maybe it's selfish. Like I just love doing that. And sometimes like I would do like silly things like, baby, good night. Or, like just, come and squish them and sometimes bring them to bed with me. Obviously they'll run away, but they'll come back later. They love sleeping with me.
So cute.
Yeah.
Do all the cats sleep on your bed at once? Has that ever happened?
Yeah. In the winter, pretty much every day. In the summer, not so much. Yeah.
I think that might be just in general, like as having a lot of fur on their bodies, they kind of just want to sleep apart and not share body heat.
Exactly. But in the winter, they're always in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you do it every night before bed. What are three good things about this?
Yeah. So as I said, it gives you a sense of connection with your pet, number one. Two is it allows your pets to feel loved. And three, it feels like a family routine. And I think this is like, love that for you. No matter if you live alone or if you live with other people, it's really nice to cultivate that kind of like family vibes. And it allows you to appreciate your life more. So yeah, like I would say those are the three key things.
Sure. What are the challenges?
Well, you might be so tired some nights or drunk that you just don't do it.
I actually find that when I'm drunk, I cuddle him more. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love you
so
much.
No, but like like if you're the happy drunk and you're just like just drunk enough, that's okay. But sometimes you're just like you about to pass out and you're just like, like head first in a bed. Those are some things that might stop you.
I get really nervous about breathing on him as well. Like just alcohol breath on my dog. Like I'm just like I don't want you to know. Yeah. Drinking. It's like
my cats love smelling alcohol for some reason. Like I have no idea why, but they just do.
They're having it when you're not looking.
Yeah, definitely. Before Leia passed away. Sorry, she had this. I had this photo of her sniffing my champagne bottle because like it was New Year I think, and then she saw the bottle and she was like, she's a curious girl, and she was just like there sniffing. It's the most hilarious thing. So cute.
That reminds me, actually, we have we never have beer like in our house because no one in our house likes beer, but my dad works for a beer company.
Oh,
so he decided to
wonderful.
just crap open a can that he got for free from them.
Yeah.
And left it on the ground on the deck.
Oh no.
So this
could not end well.
This dog just knocks it over and starts licking it. And he's like, ooh, and then starts licking it more. We had to pick him up and remove him from the beer.
He enjoyed it.
He kind of liked it. It was strange.
Wow.
I wish we'd caught it on video.
Beer lover.
Because it was like a very amusing
that
kind
would
of
have gone
moment.
viral, man.
But yeah, no, we've never made that mistake again. He wasn't even like, I think it had just been left out and forgotten about. So it was later when no one was around that he kind of just went and
Yeah.
went
Gotcha.
for it.
Gotcha.
Pets, am I right?
Beer, am I right?
How, based on your experience, do you have any recommendations of a practice or a habit that you would combine with petting your animal at the end of the day?
I would say it might sound silly, but say something nice to them. Yeah, like I love you, or like good night, or like whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like how plant parents would like talk to their plants. I do that. So yeah, same way. Talk nice things to your pet. It allows you to express that gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful you're here with me, or something. Like it's just amazing to embed gratitude in everything you do, and because I learn so much about the practice of gratitude on my shows, Happiness and Wellbeing, I just realized that it's so good for you to say it verbally out loud to anything and everything, even your pets. So even if they don't understand, you can still say the nice words, and that'll build a bond. I don't know if they understand, but I'm sure they feel the energy. Yeah, and it makes you feel so much better.
I don't know what the scientific research behind that is. I know that there's definitely been studies on it.
Yeah,
but
I would love to hear this from an expert. This is just my personal.
I am waiting for the actual, like the expert pet care episode. That would be so
That'll
good.
Be fun. Yeah,
That'd
be
be
fun
really
to compare. Yeah.
But I think I know that at least for me, telling my dog I love him, or some variation of that, which is often "You're the most beautiful little boy in the world." Some kind of variation of that is like it makes me feel better. I know he's listening to me. Whether he understands me or not is different.
Yeah.
But I think at least with Simba, I know he can tell from the tone of my voice my intentions.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's probably a result.
They always know.
Exactly. That's probably a result of like just cohabiting with me as opposed to some inherent like dog ability or whatever.
Yeah.
But and just the very, very strong differences between when I'm telling him off and when I am praising him. But yeah, he seems to, at the very least, register what I'm saying. And that makes me feel better. Even if, like, I don't know for sure whether he understands me or gets what I'm trying to say. He knows he's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure they know that they're loved.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our debrief. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm going to go pet the hell out of my dog when I get home.
Yes, and I'll pet my cats as much as I can today.
For sure, for sure. I'm going to move on now to our open mic, in which I let you talk about whatever you feel was important to kind of bring up at this stage towards the end of the episode. Lu, what did you want to talk about? This is your mini TED Talk.
Thank you. Well, I've been talking about this so much on my shows that, Aiden's probably bored of listening to it by this point. I want to talk about the importance of knowing when you're burnt out and how you can recover from it. I'm not fully recovered, but I think the first step is acknowledging when you're burnt out. So when you feel like it's out of whack, everything is out of whack, that's when you can kind of notice the signs. And if anyone's like, what is it? Like, I've never been burnt out, how do I know? Some key signs that you can notice is whether you want to get out of bed in the morning to go to work, whether you can function well at work, whether you feel like you're zoning out a lot at work, whether you feel like you're a little more stupid than usual. That happened. And whether you feel a sense of disconnection from yourself. Now, a lot of these signs, I know if anyone has gone through depression, can be very similar to depression. But yeah, burnout is something else. And I'm no professional, but I know this from experience and from talking to people who have lived through it. And I think it's a process to recover from burnout. It's important for you to seek professional help if you feel like you're not able to handle it by yourself. It's important to step back from responsibilities and not take on more stress in your life. I think a lot of the times, especially for women, and there's a book on this topic by Emily Kagowski and her sister, something, I don't remember their exact last name, and I apologize if I butcher your names, but the book is called Burnout. And it was recommended by a colleague from my previous job. I was also burnt out in my previous job in 2021. And, she recommended that book. I read it and I was like, okay, now I know about this concept called completing the stress cycle. Now, completing the stress cycle is something very simple. You can do this because if you're still switched on from all of that stress, you're not going to be able to do anything, which is why a lot of the things that you're going to hear are very simple. You hear it all the time. Exercise, go out, have fun, hang out with people, connect with yourself, pick up a new hobby, get enough sleep, eat well. Very basic things, especially because, I talk about this a lot on the happiness and well-being show, and I learned a thing or two from the experts. I think it's not something that would happen to you all the time, but probably once or twice in your life you would go through such periods. And I know for a lot of people, whatever profession you have, you might go through this periods of burnout because you care about your work, and because you really care about your work and it's really challenging, which is my case, or you take on a lot of different responsibilities and you have a lot of things happening in your life and you're not able to find your space to find that peace. And, that's why I think it's super important to acknowledge when you have it, to actively work on it. And I think for me, it's been really helpful to go back to basic, just do 8 hours of work. If I can, max 9 and not more than that. Completely switch off, get out of the house after work whenever possible, unless it's like heavily raining and I don't feel well. Connect with yourself, find new hobbies, journal it out, talk to friends. And what I've learned through my shows, have been really helpful because, a lot of the times when I didn't feel like myself, I talked to the experts on the show and then they started to give me tips and stories and, things that I could try. And I was like, oh yeah, like little things like, just exercising, sleeping well and things like that. Wow, so helpful. And just enjoying, the present moment as well. You get lost in things, right? Get into the flow, whatever it might be. So helpful. And also with that, I would like to share that if anyone would like to explore other aspects of their happiness and well-being, I'm really passionate about mental health. And I think it's important for all of us to get to know this topic, especially the psychology behind it. If you're not an expert and you don't really want to go into psychology as a profession, it's fine. You can just learn more about it through listening to our shows. So we have Sarah Boost, the Happiness Science Insights podcast, and Doing Well, the Wellbeing Science Insights podcast that I'm hosting. We talk about a lot of different topics. Burnout has been mentioned once or twice. Pets have been mentioned multiple times. And we talk a lot about different aspects of happiness and well-being. So please tune in.
Sure. I want to, and that was your open mic, not mine, but I do want to tack on to it.
Yes, please.
As someone who, you and I, we've talked about burnout a lot because we're both going through it.
Yeah.
And something that I think I underestimated how much it would help, and it's stupid that I did, is therapy, like professional help. Because for me, it's burnout, but I'm also going through chronic depression. I've probably also got some form of ADHD. Haven't been diagnosed officially, but that's in the works. And understanding your brain and how it works makes such a world of difference. And it's very difficult to do that on your own. I understand that professional help is not accessible to everyone. It's very expensive. It's expensive for me right now. And that's why, shows like yours and also Personal Science, we've tackled some of those issues before. We try to talk to experts and we try to make sure that all of the info we're giving has scientific backing and research backing in some way, so that it's not kind of like your regular motivational tips that you hear on a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, motivational tips are good, but you need science to back them up.
Exactly. And you want and I think something that I found is that the experts also add a lot of nuance and context to a lot of those motivational tips. That's really important in understanding what's going on in your head and how to actually tackle what's going on in your head.
Definitely.
So while our show is not a replacement, our shows are not a replacement for therapy.
Definitely not.
It is a huge help and it's really beneficial. So I do recommend.
Yeah.
I do recommend that. I feel like we could do an entire episode on burnout, but I'm going to stop it right there.
We should. Hey, why don't we talk about that on my show?
We'll do that.
Yeah.
There, it's done. Look forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
But Lu, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I've had such a great time talking to you about pets. It feels like a normal conversation we have all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's fun. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about my cats. I'm ecstatic. Like, I didn't ask for this.
When I was picking a topic for you, I was like, Lu is gonna love it.
I love it so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I've had a great time.
Me too.
You've been listening to Self-Improvement Atlas, the personal science insights podcast produced by LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. For more episodes like this from 10 different life management perspectives, search LMSL on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you can get updated on everything we have to offer. We have a wide range of topics readily available for you to check out. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating our show, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow and bring you more quality resources. More of our work can also be found on our website at pe.lmsl.net, where you can join our movement. I'm Aditi Kutty. Thanks for tuning in.